Good morning and welcome to the special Saturday edition of my live comments. We are parents, grandparents, parents to be, the parents that were, parents that are, the parents that would be. But are we not the worst generation of parents? Have we not allowed the collapse of parenting, the very concept of parenting? Isn't this the time for the parents to grow up and really become parents? Today, when I see the hierarchy in a family, and family is an hierarchy, the real boss is no longer the father, as in patriarchal societies, or the mother, as in matriarchal society. The real boss in the modern anti-hierarchical family is the child. So who does the parenting? The word parenting means looking after, helping kids grow. Now imagine in a restaurant, the dad, the mom, and couple of kids. And then the dad says, sporting the mom, "Hey honey, could you do me a favor? Could you please just try one bite of green peas? Just one bite, please. Please." To most of the people, this would become very normal. You are trying to be decent, sophisticated, gently coaxing a desirable trait in a child without threatening the autonomy of a child or creating a scene. That looks to us very normal. But to a famous psychologist, Dr. Leonard Sachs, this is the first step towards the collapse of parenting. When you start being a parent, the first power tool that you have to assert is food. Food is power. And here by saying, please, instead of the normal saying, well, one bite is necessary for you. You can take meat, there's no problem. You take ice cream, no problem, within moderation. But the green vegetables are also a must. This concept of please do me a favor, please take a bite, according to Dr. Leonard Sachs, is the sign of the collapse of parenting, because the children would take advantage of it. While we no longer believe in the old saying, the biblical saying, spare a rod and spoil the child, we also don't want the parents to start kneeling before the kids, requesting them to do something which they should normally do. In theory, what the parents are doing today is absolutely great. They are trying to build up their kids by giving them influence, make them self-confident. But in reality, they are losing their primacy. There are certain sectors in which the children have to be given the preference. As a matter of fact, the parenting rule is that you lay down certain lines and tell them, well, within this perimeter which I have drawn around you, you are autonomous to do whatever you want. And because of this collapse of the parenting, today, the children are more under the impact of gangs, gun violence. If there's no control on food, you can be sure there's no control on their studies. There's no control on their extracurricular activity. There's no control on their online watching. There's no control on their texting or sex texting. There is no control on what time they come and what time they go. I have seen families where it's at dinner time and the kids are not there. Well, the mom says very shamefacedly, well, he's gone for a sleepover at a friend. Which friend? I don't know. Well, he is very close. I don't know. That shows the collapse of parents. You see, we have begun to cede control to the kids, and the first thing, as I said, to go is food choice. In the power game that is there, and you would say that power game is not in the parent, it's there everywhere. It has to be there because our society is hierarchical. And a power game is not to control the children, but to guide them properly. At one time, the parents used to say, no dessert until you have taken your spinach or broccoli. Even that is bad because you are putting an emphasis on bribe. The simple thing is, you have an option. Take this plus this, or take this plus this. The food choices can easily be made. You know, the worst are the parents in the North America. They are prone to asking their children rather than telling them. There's another great psychologist, Dr. Gordon Neufeld, and I was reading his work, and he says, as a matter of fact, the children intuitively know when the parent is trying to beg and when the parent is directing them. The command, the tone, the gesture, the body language, all that are important to tell a child what's to be done right now and what cannot be done. It also lays a parameter, how long can they take liberty with doing their own work. When you consult your children about the issues that symbolize certain parts of nourishment of the body or nourishment of the brain, then you put them in the lead. As a matter of fact, in the nurture part, the parenting part, is the parent who has to take in the lead and play the alpha role. When the children start playing the alpha role, they are not conversant with most of the things. You know, there is an age for everything. When a child is a toddler, he has to be told clearly, thus far, no further. When he becomes a teenager, then the conditions are more relaxed, but fresh conditions can be put. To a toddler, you need not say you must be home by this time and must be present at dinner because he's going to be there. But the teenager has to be told, thus far, no further. A child grows an adult, that's his life. So, you have got to ensure that you remain a parent rather than become just a provider. Parenting means providing, but not only providing, it also means nurturing the body, the intellect, the morality, the moral values, the ethical values, the confidence, everything. And it's extremely unfortunate when the children take the alpha role, the pack leader, or the decider and the effector. And the person in charge, mom or the dad, are just left wringing their hands, doing nothing. You know, what happens is that the parents are not sure of themselves. It's just like teaching kids to speak French while you are still learning it from the textbook. And there is a problem. The parents want a democratic household where each member has a say about what happens. Good enough. But suppose you say, okay, are we ready to have a bath? You tell a child will always say, no, let me play a bit, let me rest a bit, I'm tired. My favorite show is there on the TV. And that is where you've got to assert that you are you are a parent and not a failure as a parent. There are broader influences shifting the parent-child dynamic as well. Over the past half a century, the public has come to scorn power imbalances based on gender, race, religion, sexual orientation. But the pyramidal or management can be changed for a flat organization in a corporate world, but not in the family. Empowerment has come to be virtuous, but empowerment does not mean rebellion or asserting yourself before you're fully mature to do so. Many kids are actually overpowering their parents, and that's a problem, says those people in working this welfare child development. A functional family unit hinges on one social construct, and that is to maintain the hierarchy. You need a strong alpha plus orientation to inspire a child, so the child can trust you and depend upon you. And you can be sure when the children become the leaders, they have no longer trust in you. And they don't depend on you. I'll be very happy if they don't depend on you, but then not trusting you, the loss of trust is the major factor. And if you don't start right from the day one, then you are in for a failure. On demand snacking, in the car, in the mall, while out for a walk, disrupts not only the hierarchy, it disrupts the metabolism and the circadian rhythm as well. Have you seen why the obesity is growing? It is because the parents have stopped taking. I've seen some moms, taking their kids out. And what they do is take a lot of candies and drinks with them. And half an hour drive, and they'll be saying, child, I hope you're not hungry. If you're hungry, why don't you take a chocolate, take a cookie, take a drink? And the child would do it because that is tasty, without considering that he's going to harm himself or herself and become obese. There's a sign. When you see a child becoming an obese, you can be sure that 80% chances are that the parenting has been a failure. You see, I was talking about Sachs, Dr. Sachs. He was saying that the collapse of parenting is in fact a cover for out of shape. Whenever you see obese children, be sure the parents are useless. And the result, children are less active than they ironically were earlier, because they don't get rest. And they don't get rest because the parental control is not there. I'm not saying be like a dictator in the 18th century when you said, no, it's 5 o'clock and you must be home. Okay. But then lay down certain parameters. Some curfew has got to be there. A common question the psychologist asked is, what's your favorite thing to do in your spare time when by yourself and no one is watching? And most of the cases the reply is, I was asleep. Because children are too busy with a school assignment and extracurricular activities to go to bed a good hour, so they don't sleep. They sleep late because of the video games, because of the cartoon shows or the other favorite shows on the TV, and then in the morning they cannot get up. So these simple parameters and this sleep deprivation, according to the doctor, the John Hopkins Institute says, it's a sign of ADHD. When a child is deprived of sleep, he would behave like a patient of ADHD, and the family doctors, without considering that is sleep deprived, brand the child as suffering from attention deficiency. What is really required is not medication. What is really required is discipline. You see, best thing for the child is not eating good food. Best thing in the child is not sleeping enough or sleeping at all. The best thing in the child is you as a parent. You cannot use the parents like hard drives. You need not push them. You set an example for them. But many times the peer pressure may be much stronger than your pressure is. And that is why you have got to fail. And you have got to see that academic achievement is coupled with their mental achievement. This culture of disrespect in North America is shocking. When I see, the children calling the teachers by the first name, it's a craze nowadays. But the moment you start calling your teacher by the first name, because you're calling your dad and mom also by the first name possibly, is a first step towards disaster. How can you learn from somebody whom you're on so intimate terms? Kids are not born knowing right from wrong. It's the parents who have to tell them this is right and this is wrong. They need not tell them do this because this is right. No. Tell them otherwise what is right, what is wrong, what are the gray areas. Let them decide in consultation with you. Or you decide in consultation with them. And be sure, if the parenting collapses, the society collapses. Come on, parents, grow up. It's time for you to grow so that your children do not suffer. It is essential that you are not the worst generation of the parents. Your quest to have the happiest, healthiest, smartest kid is welcome, but it should not be that welcome to destroy the identity of your children and they become a part of a mob, a congealed mass of human beings without an individual identity. It's for the parents to ensure that the individual identity is maintained, the child's entity is maintained, and the child flowers like a bloom rather than just be one of the hewers of wood and drawers of water. Grow up, parents. The parenting grid is collapsing. Grow up and become a real parent, a real guide, a real star to whom the child looks up to and admires. Thank you.